What is going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Niam, and over the last few years I have lost 50 kilos. I used to be a data scientist working in London in a corporate job, and now because I didn't want to do that anymore, I'm an online fitness coach. I've helped 30 others lose weight too, get fit, get healthy, and become the best version of themselves. And in this video I want to share with you how you can lose 40 kilos. If you are sitting at 120, 100 kilos and you're like, I want to make this the year that I absolutely transform my life, then this video is for you. And so what I'm going to do is share with you the full guide on how you can lose weight without going down the pitfalls that I went down. And it's only in 4 easy steps. And the fourth step is the most important one. So stick around for that. So let's get into step number 1. This is a mindset that you need to go into this journey with. And it's that you need to decide. Now, when I was younger, I went to a private school, posh private school, and I had the opportunity to learn Latin. And when I learned Latin, one of the words that we learned was caedere, C-A-E-D-E-R-E, which means to kill. The prefix de means off. So the word decide comes from de caedere, which means to kill off. And so when you're deciding and you're saying to yourself, I'm deciding to lose weight, you're killing off any other option that doesn't align with that decision. And the reason why this is so important right now at the start of your journey is because in 2 weeks' time, in 3 weeks' time, in 4 weeks' time, there's going to be a multitude of things that get in your way, are going to try and get in your way. It might be you've had a stressful week at work and you just want to get a takeaway, or you feel really tired and you don't want to get your steps in, or you just don't want to go to the gym because you've got so many other things going on. And so at the beginning, when you make this decision and you make this commitment to yourself and you're like, look, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to go on this journey, I'm going to make it happen, especially when you've got something like 40 kilos to lose, you're killing off any other option that doesn't align with that decision. And so in 4 weeks' time, you can always pull yourself back to when you made this commitment, when you made this decision, and say, okay, does what I'm going to do now align with the decision that I made at the beginning, the vision that I made for myself? And so when you do that, you always have this filter in the back of your head when you're making decisions, when you're deciding whether you want to go out with your mates for the cheeky pint on the weekend, or you want to go for that Indian curry which is going to be really greasy and spike your calories up and just make you feel like shit. You get to make that decision with a filter in your head saying, does it align with the decision that I made to lose weight at the start of the year or the start of the month or whenever you're starting the journey? So it's so important that you do this. It's so important that you make this commitment, because you've got 40 kilos to lose, you've got 30 kilos to lose, you've got a lot of weight to lose. And so it's going to take a long time. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a long journey. And so when you make that decision, when you make that commitment, that is the thing that's going to drive you through the rest of your journey. All right, so that is step number 1. Make a bloody decision. Make a commitment to yourself that you're going to go on this journey and you're going to make it happen for yourself, because you can. And even though it's hard, even though it's difficult, even though it takes time, even though there's going to be so many other things that are pulling you in the other direction to become this person, the old version of yourself, it's worth it. I can tell you that. Like, I'm able to train Muay Thai now. I'm able to go on runs with cool people. I'm able to go on hikes and explore the world way more, which are all things that I just wasn't able to do or didn't even feel comfortable to do before. I can wear a t-shirt in this video and be like, yeah, look, I feel confident wearing it. And so getting into better shape, losing weight is only going to benefit you in ways that you can't even imagine right now, because you haven't experienced being fit and healthy. When you go on this journey, you're literally changing your identity and you're changing your lifestyle and you're becoming this new person. And so you're not only killing off any other option, you're killing off the old version of yourself. When I was back at home in London, I used to go on these 4 a.m. runs, and I'd go outside and it'd be really cold. I didn't really want to do it. And then I'd be on this run and I'd be listening to like Eminem in my earplugs. And then I would be like, all right, in this moment, I would have this mantra in my head and I would just repeat it, saying, you're killing off the old version of yourself. You're shredding him to bits. You're shredding him to bits. And every time that I went outside and I did that, I just literally stabbed that old version of myself, the lazy, the fat ass that didn't want to go do anything, that slept in till 3 p.m. every single day. I was literally shredding that guy to bits. And so when you say that you're making this decision, when you're deciding that you want to become this new person, you're also killing off the old version of you. And every action that you take that aligns with the decision that you've made to become this new version of yourself is a step closer to molding this new identity. And I think it's just so powerful when you do that, because it brings so much confidence, because once you do that in one aspect of your life, you can take those same learnings and apply it to other areas of your life. And it sounds pretty brutal to have to kill off your old self, but it's just what has to be done. You are just a product of the lifestyle, the habits, the repeated actions that you take on a daily basis. That is just who you are. And so when you change your habits, when you change your behaviors, you literally are becoming a new version of yourself. And as a result of that, you are shredding to bits your old self to become this new self. And that's cool. I think that's one of the beauties of life, is that you can continually transform and continually become this better version of yourself. Transformation, change, growth, that's what I'm about. Since I lost weight, I've become this different person that is so ambitious, which I didn't have before. I was actually quite an unconfident child and teenager. Even though on the outside I was quite confident, on the inside I really wasn't. And I think that going through that transformational journey where I lost loads of weight and became this disciplined person, which I never had before, I discovered who I truly am and who I truly want to be. And that's continually evolving as I become more disciplined and I become better. So step 2, now that you've decided to lose weight, we can actually get into the more practical tips of how you're actually going to make this happen for yourself. There are 3 pillars to fat loss. The third of which is step 4 in this video, which is the most overlooked, but also really important to make sure that you actually achieve the physique that you want. And so stick around for that. But I would argue that step 1 is actually the most important. And it's probably going to be the single thing to focus on right at the beginning. If you've got loads of different other priorities and you're like, all right, I just want to focus on this one thing, this is the thing that I would definitely focus on right at the beginning. And that is nutrition. And on a very basic level, right? On a very basic level, the number of calories that you consume is going to determine the amount of weight that you lose. Fat is just basically a storage of energy on our body. It's just a way of our body saying, I've eaten too much, let me store it as body fat so I can use it later. And so when you eat fewer calories than you're burning, that deficit that you create from that is then taken from the body fat that you have, and that's how you lose weight. So the first thing that you want to start doing is actually just tracking calories. And let me explain why. Now, I know there's loads of people out there that are like, yeah, don't track calories, don't do this, don't do that, because you can become obsessive. Don't fucking obsess over it then. And I actually did the same. I ended up obsessing over it too much. But now I found like a way better approach, which is just track what you can 100% of the time. And if it's not 100% accurate, it's fine, but at least you have a guide. But the reason why that you should track is because it just gives you a level of awareness that you definitely don't have if you've got 40 kilos to lose or 30 kilos to lose. So like, I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I used to go to Nando's. I still do. But when I used to go to Nando's, I used to get a wrap with peri-peri chips and garlic bread. That would probably be about 1,500 calories. And then after that, I would go to Baskin Robbins, get a double scoop of cookies and cream ice cream with hot fudge sauce and maybe a brownie. And that was probably another 1,000 calories in that one dessert. And so that meal that I was having was over 2,000 calories. And I didn't know it. When I went to Colombia, I went on a trip and I was like, oh yeah, I have chips and garlic bread with my Nando's. One of the things that one of the ladies said to me was like, oh yeah, how many carbs do you need? And in response, I was like, oh yeah, like I need a lot of carbs. But I didn't even know what a carbohydrate was. And so the point here is that if you want to lose weight, if you want to become fitter, you need to get an awareness of nutrition. One of the best ways to do that, I think, is going on MyFitnessPal and every single day just being consistent with tracking. And at this point, I don't even think that you should try and pick the right foods. Just the first step is tracking consistently and looking at what you're consuming. And naturally, as a result of you becoming aware, you will make changes in a positive way, because you'll be like, oh fuck, like 8 cashews is 100 calories, I better eat less of those. So naturally, you're gonna make better decisions. And then afterwards, we can start talking about food choices. And like at this point, I don't even wanna go into it because that's a can of worms and I don't wanna overwhelm you. If you've got that much weight to lose, the first thing that I would do is just track calories consistently. And then after 2 weeks, when you become a bit more advanced, you can start thinking about, okay, how can I shift my diet towards a diet that is actually gonna fuel me for life and allow me to build that physique that I want, which is something that I'll just cover in another video because there is so much to say there and I don't wanna overwhelm you and cover too much in this video, and it's just too much. So we've got to the point where we're tracking calories. Now you might be like, oh, I don't have time to track calories. Okay, this is where you can actually be strategic with it. So there's a stat online that 80% of people eat the same 7 meals in rotation. And so if you look at what you've eaten over the last 2 weeks, you're probably eating the same shit most of the time anyway. And so the way that I want you to do this is basically just eat similar foods every single day. Maybe keep your breakfast the same, keep your lunch the same, and then switch up dinner. And so when you systemize it like that and you have a system for your nutrition, you don't have to think about it. you're basically just tracking the same foods every single day in the same quantities, and so it doesn't take that much time. And you can probably track your full day of food in literally 2 minutes once you got to the point where you've done it so many times. And so yeah, at the beginning it's going to require a little bit of time, but remember what we said at the beginning is that you have decided that this is the goal that you've set for yourself. This is the vision that you have for yourself. And that means any option that doesn't align with the decision that you've made, it doesn't happen. When you say to yourself, I'm not going to track calories because it takes too much time, you're going back on the commitment that you made. And so you always got to go back to that commitment and be like, all right, does tracking calories align with me losing weight and the decision that I made at the beginning of this journey? Yes, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to find the time. There's 10 minutes in the day that I'm going to do it. All right, so that is step number 2. Step number 3 is activity. So what most people do here and what is spouted online is get your 10K steps, do that. And to be honest, for most people, 10K steps is actually quite a good aim because it's a round number, it's pretty achievable. If you do 10K steps and you keep nutrition dialed, and that's an important, and you can't just do 10K steps and eat shit and still lose weight. You probably will lose some weight, especially if you're on the heavier side. But at the same time, if you're going from doing 1,000 steps, I don't think it's smart for you to jump to 10K because yeah, you might do it for a few days, you might do it for a week, you might do it for 2 weeks. But eventually you are just going to rebound and feel like you failed because the target is so high. And so what I suggest is maybe if you're doing 1,000 steps, add 4,000. And on the other hand, if you're already doing 12,000 steps, then maybe try and push yourself to do 13,000, 14,000. Because I firmly believe that walking is an important part of human life. So if you look at the Hadza tribe in Tanzania, they walk like 20 miles a day, and they're the most similar tribe in the world that resembles how hunter-gatherers live. And I think that living like a hunter-gatherer, where they move a lot, they walk a lot, they eat fresh foods, they spend time with their family and their friends, they sing songs, they do all these wholesome stuff, it's probably a happier way to live anyway. And so if you can just integrate more walking into your life, I'm sure it's good for your body. And as we get more and more sedentary with our working in front of our laptops, like being intentional and being conscious about the amount of movement that you're getting in throughout the day is going to be really important. And if you struggle to get your steps in, I think there's a few things that you can do here. So one is finding the pockets in your day where you can add a little bit more movement. So a good example is if you're going grocery shopping, park your car in the furthest spot possible. If you do that, you're going to get way more steps in just doing something that you already do and you're already going to spend time on anyway. The other thing is if you're taking a phone call, go for a walk. Get a trackpad at home. It's like a small little treadmill. You can just walk on that whenever you get a break, especially if you're working from home. 20 minutes of walking, 2,000 steps, bang, done. And then there are 2 other things that I would say, and I actually find doing steps consistently one of the hardest things, because especially in England, it's cold, it's wet, it's cloudy, like it's not that fun. If you can try to make doing your steps enjoyable, it's going to be fun. So in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, there's something that is called temptation bundling, all right? So temptation bundling is pairing a desired activity, so a desired habit that you want to build, so steps, for example, with something fun. So what I used to do is I used to go for a walk, and in Tesco, in petrol station Tesco, they have this thing called the Taste Inc. chicken. It's about 40 calories, got 8 grams of protein. I really like it. I don't eat meat at home because my family's vegetarian. And so for me, that was quite a nice treat. And so whenever I felt like, oh, I'm not really that motivated to go for a walk, I'd just say, all right, if I go for this walk, I can go stop at the petrol station, get myself a bit of chicken. And that was enough to motivate me to go because I had another reward there. So temptation bundling, you can call a friend, you can listen to a podcast, anything that makes the walk a little bit more fun is going to allow you to be a little bit more motivated. Number 2, habit stacking. So this is where you pair the desired activity that you want to do, so walking, with a pre-existing habit that you already do, so you're not thinking about when you're going to do it. So easy one here is like when you have a meal, go for a 20-minute walk or a 10-minute walk. So when you have your breakfast, you go for a 10-minute walk. And so there is no decision fatigue around when you're going to go for this walk. It's just when you eat, you're going to go for this walk. And because of that, you're not thinking too much. Again, thinking about the system that is going to allow you to get the steps in versus trying to do stuff on an ad hoc basis. And so in this way, what you're going to do is hack your brain to get the steps in and achieve your fat loss goals. Finally, step number 4 is resistance training, right? So most people overlook resistance training. They just go on the treadmill, and you will see in January when people set their New Year's resolutions, all the treadmills will be full at the gym because people will come in, they'll do an hour sweating on the treadmill, and they'll think they've burned loads of calories and they think they're on track with their weight loss goals. And what will happen is, yes, they will lose weight for a few weeks, but you have to remember that our bodies are designed to do two objectives in our lives. One is survival and the second is reproduction. So when you're trying to survive, your body doesn't want you to lose weight, right? If you think about it, if you just kept losing weight forever, you'd end up dying. And so your body is gonna start doing things that is gonna stop you from losing weight because it wants you to survive. It's quite smart. And one of the ways that it does this is actually through muscle wastage. And so think about, you go into a calorie deficit, you're trying to lose weight, you do that for 2 weeks. Your body realizes that you're in this calorie deficit, and so your body's like, oh no, like I'm gonna die. Let me start burning fewer calories. One way in which it does that is that it tears down your muscle, because muscle is calorically expensive. And so you burn away your muscle, you start burning less, you're eating less. Because of that, you stop losing weight. And so you have to eat less, and the same thing happens over and over again. But one way in which you can counteract that is through resistance training. So what you can do is go to the gym, lift some heavy weights, do that consistently every single week, get stronger and stronger. And because of that, what's going to happen is you're sending a muscle building signal to your body, which means that you're going to boost your metabolism and prevent your muscle from being wasted, and your body is going to prioritize fat loss for the energy deficit that you've created. And think about this, right? You go to the gym and you spend an hour on the cardio treadmill, whatever. You burn 500 calories. Great, that is awesome. But afterwards, you're not actually burning extra calories. With strength training, yes, in the 1 hour, you might burn fewer calories, but for 48 hours, when you go back, you're eating, you're sleeping, your body is recovering from that training session and you are building muscle. And because of that, your metabolism is boosted and you're burning more calories. And so you're creating a deficit for not only that 1 hour, but for 48 hours after that training session. And that's why it's way more effective. Not only that, but when you lose weight and you don't gain any muscle, or you lose muscle, you just become skinny fat. Whereas when you lose weight and you do good high quality strength training, so you lift heavy weights, you get stronger, you push to failure, you build muscle and you burn fat, and you actually get that toned look that you're looking for. Got some biceps here. If I just lost the 50 kilos that I lost without doing any strength training, I would have just literally become so skinny fat and I'll just look a bit shit, to be honest. Because I've done it the way that I've done it, I've been able to maintain a lot of muscle mass. In fact, I've been able to build quite a lot of muscle, so I don't have that skinny fat look. And this is just what happens when you pair resistance training with a high protein calorie deficit. Make sure that you do that. And if you've never done any resistance training before, keep it simple. Go into the gym, do 5 exercises, do full body workout, do 3 sets per exercise, and just keep a 2-minute rest between each set and do 10 to 12 reps per set. You can do that for 3 years and you can make lots and lots of progress with your fat loss journey. And it just means that you can get really good at contracting your muscles, doing these movements, building a baseline of foundational strength that's going to drive you for the rest of your fitness journey. So that is it. That's everything. This is how you build muscle and burn fat. First, you need to decide. You need to decide, you need to commit, and you need to kill off any other option, you need to kill off your past self. Because when you do that, you become the new version of yourself, and every decision that you make going forward, if it doesn't align with the decision that you made to lose weight and become this new version of yourself, then it gets thrown in the bin. You need to do that. Second, you need to get a hold of your nutrition. And you're going to do that by first tracking calories and systemizing it so it doesn't take up loads of your time. 2, you're going to start to increase your steps, and the aim here is just to progressive overload your steps. Just aim to walk more and more, become more active, become a normal human being that we were meant to be. And the most overlooked one is to resistance train, lift heavy weights, close to failure, get stronger, and so you can get that toned look and you can sustain weight loss over months, and you can eventually lose that 40 kilos. Look, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you enjoyed that full guide on how to lose weight and lose 40 kilos this year. If you found it useful, then drop me a message, drop me a comment. It'll be cool to hear from you. Remember, become the person that you want to be. Peace.